Some kids have best friends, while some have toys as best friends, and kids in this movie have a bloodthirsty space monster as their best pal. Welcome back, guys, it's Motion Recaps again, and today we're covering the 2020 sci-fi horror comedy Psycho Goreman. Siblings Mimi and Luke unwittingly resurrect an ancient alien overlord. Using a magical amulet, they force the monster to obey their childish whims. On the one hand, the only thing that stands between the alien overlord and the global annihilation is the strange pulsating gem, and on the other hand, the demon's arch-enemies called the Templars have already dispatched Pandora, a mighty sword-wielding defender, to stop him at all costs. Now it seems that whoever wins, humans lose. Can the little suburban siblings control the beast and in the process save humankind? Before we begin, of course, feel free to subscribe to our channel and also like the video. Please make sure you remain with us until the end, so you will find out how great this video is. It helps our great community to grow and helps us to provide you with the highest quality content. Without further ado, let's dive straight in. The movie begins with a narration about an evil creature used to destroy worlds and galaxies until it was captured and buried on Earth. And then we can see a brother and sister, Luke and Mimi, playing in their backyard. They're playing a crazy ball, and before starting, Mimi tells him the stake. The winner will be the champion of the crazy ball in the universe, while the loser will be buried alive. The game begins, and they compete without mercy. There are a lot of things going on in the game, and when their balls collide, Mimi calls for a switcheroo, and she hurls at Luke, and she punches him, so she won. That night, Luke is digging a nice and fresh grave for himself. He hits something hard with a shovel. They find a gem, and Mimi takes it out. The earth rumbles, and they quickly fill the hole. Their mother calls them, and they go to bed. A hand emerges from the earth. Not far away from the siblings' home, there is an old shoe factory. There are 3 robbers, and one is scolding the other 2 because they brought him worthless items. Suddenly, something appears at the entrance. The robber throws a picture at the person, and soon he and the other 2 find out that they're dealing with a monster. And then the monster uses its powers, and then it rips the heads of 2 robbers. The last one begs the monster to spare him, and the monster drives him crazy with its powers. The next day, the siblings and parents find the hole, and the mother fills it up because the father has an injured hand. Later that night, the siblings decide to follow in the footsteps they found next to the hole, and soon they go to the old factory. They look around, and Luke is visibly scared. The monster emerges from the dark, and it tells them they will die. However, it turns out that Mimi cannot control him using the gem she found. Mimi wants to test the gem, and she commands the monster to spin Luke. The monster does as Mimi told him. After that, the monster shows them the poor robber, who is in a state of eternal mind torture. Luke accidentally pushes him, and he falls where he smashes into thousands of pieces. The robber thanks Luke for releasing him, and the monster is in disbelief, and he's angry with Luke. Mimi asks the monster if he has a name, and the monster replies he doesn't have one, but his enemies sometimes call him an Archduke of Nightmares. Mimi decides he needs a new name, so she and Luke think. They come up with hilarious names like Corporal Khan and Rexo Thunderaxe. But in the end, they decide to call the monster Psycho Goreman, or PG for short. PG tells them they will suffer as soon as he gets the gem, but Mimi orders him to wait for them until they come back tomorrow. On the distant planet, an alien council is meeting where they discuss the awakening of PG. There is a Templar named Pandora. She's an alien who belongs to a race of warriors that saved the galaxy of PG. After Pandora briefs everyone about the situation, then she orders her robot to bring a human being. The robot does as Pandora told him, and it brings a woman. Pandora uses her powers. She traps the woman, and she turns her into the meat jelly cube. That horrifies other aliens, and it raises the question, is Pandora good? On the Earth, Luke and Mimi bring their friend Alistair to show him PG. Luke carries a TV for PG so he doesn't get bored. They arrive at the factory. PG meets Alistair, and then Mimi gives him a bunch of magazines with hunky boys. They ask PG about his origin, and he sits down to tell them a story. He came from a planet called Gigax. The Templars enslaved him and his people. However, everything changed when PG found a gem that gave him enormous powers. And then he began a liberation of his planet, and later he conquered other planets. The kids then leave PG and they head back home. PG uses the TV to call for his minions and inform them he's awake. They tell PG they'll come to rescue him. After finishing their meals, Luke and Alistair go to play games, and Mimi goes outside to play by herself. He calls PG, and after some time, he arrives. Mimi scolds him for being late, but PG admits he got lost. Luke and Alistair quickly go outside. Mimi asks PG if he can make Alistair less dorky, and he turns him into a brain-like blob. The mother sees that, and she quickly gets outside. The father goes after her, and they meet PG. They are horrified, but Mimi explains he's a friendly guy. And then the siblings, PG and Alistair, perform a song, and throughout a montage, we can see PG getting closer to the siblings. The family accepts him as their own, and everyone gets used to him. One night, Luke wakes up and sees zombies surrounding his bed. He sees a PG standing next to him. He tells Luke to steal the gem from his sister because she's bullying him. In exchange, PG will spare his life. However, Luke doesn't want to betray her sister. And then there's a moment of awkward silence as PG tells Luke that he needs to wait for his dream to end. The next day, the siblings are together with PG and Alistair on a playground. Mimi is explaining to them the rules of the crazy ball. Suddenly, cops show up and PG steps up. He turns to one police officer into a brain-dead minion, and he tells the other one to tell the others that PG is here to conquer their planet. Alistair feels sad and he leaves. And then the group heads through the woods, together with a brain-dead cop who is mumbling and shooting a whole way. Pandora arrives at a police station disguised as a woman she ate earlier. She asks the question about PG, and when a surviving police officer tells her he encountered him, she extracts his memories with her powers. Suddenly, in the woods, the group gets surprised when the PG's minion arrive, and they're a really ugly bunch. PG approaches them and he orders them to kill the siblings and retrieve the stones. That shocks Mimi and Luke, but the minions tell PG they won't do it because it's better for them this way. After he got in prison, the minions agree to rule over a planet together, and then they attack PG and they overpower him quickly because Mimi refuses to order PG to defend himself. She tells him he needs to apologize for telling his minions to kill them. PG doesn't want to, but after some whacking, he apologizes. Mimi tells him to make a nicer apology. It takes some time, but in the end, PG apologizes nicely, and Mimi orders him to fight back. Tables are turned quickly and PG beats him up. Blood and body parts are everywhere as he battles them. A witch tries to pull his head out with her spells, but PG puts his head back with no problem, and then he kills them one by one in gory fashion until the last minion remains. He begs for mercy, and PG gives him an honorary death of a warrior eating him alive. PG is a winner of this monster brawl, but he's heavily wounded. He uses his powers to call the siblings' father to come and pick them up with his truck. He quickly comes and PG goes to the back of the truck. It turns out that one minion is alive, and its head is trying to escape. However, the father drives over here. They arrive home only to find out that Pandora is there and that she told the mother everything about PG. The mother tells the sibling to get out and to leave PG to Pandora. Mimi doesn't want to do that because she sees PG as a friend. On the other hand, Luke has some second thoughts. PG tells them that Pandora is not so good and that she's a fanatic that is conquering the entire universe. Luke gets out of the car because he's sick of Mimi's bullying, and he joins his mother and Pandora. Mother tries her best to convince her husband and Mimi to get out of the car, but the father and the daughter decide to drive away with PG. Pandora tells Luke and the mother that they need to do everything in their power to stop him because he will destroy the world. The father and Mimi take PG to the old factory where they wrap him in blankets. PG tells Mimi that he can only survive if he can get the gem back because he will regain his strength and power. PG tells her that the minion's whip had poison on it and that poison was too strong. Mimi feels confused and she doesn't know if it's right to give the gem to PG. She doesn't know if he's lying. He could kill everyone if she gives him the gem back. The father then talks with Mimi and he gives her advice to give PG a stone because he thinks that it's the right thing to do. Back at their home, Pandora is mixing some potions. She turns into her actual form and she gives a potion to the mother who drinks it. The alien council is monitoring everything, and they hope Pandora will win because otherwise they're screwed. At the factory, Mimi prays to God asking him if everything can turn out well, and then she gets up and her opinion changes as she tells God that Psycho Goreman is more powerful than him. She puts on a pair of glasses and goes to PG to give him the gem. She tells him she will only hand it over if he promises not to kill her family. After he promises, she reaches into her backpack only to find out that the gems are missing because Luke stole them. Pandora breaks the door and she enters with Luke and his mother, who transform into the Templar form. Mimi is mad at Luke and she attacks him, but the mother stops her. The father catches the mother's attention and she goes to him with intention to punish him for all the stress he caused to her. Mimi uses the chance to attack her brother and Luke tells her she's the monster here. Pandora traps PG, but he demands a trial by combat. Pandora is too prideful to refuse and she grants him wish. PG needs to choose how they will fight. He chooses the game of Crazy Ball. Then everyone splits into two teams, and Mimi explains the rules. They begin with a game, and it's intense at the beginning. A lot of things are going on. Pandora and the mother are not so good in the game, while PG is killing it. He plays like a pro. The score is the same for both teams, but Mimi and Luke's balls collide, and PG dramatically announces the switcheroo. Mimi hurls at Luke, and she hits him first. She scores the points, and her team wins. PG breaks the father's hand by giving him a high five. Pandora is not happy with the outcome, and she attacks PG, but Mimi stands in front of him to protect him. Pandora doesn't care about her and she swings her blade in her direction. The mother stops her and she loses her powers while trying to protect Mimi. Luke throws the gem to Mimi and she gives it to PG. Pandora attacks the family but PG saves them. And then he makes a sword out of her body parts and they enter a deadly duel. PG goes in berserk mode when he sees Pandora destroyed his magazine with hunky boys. He defeats her and she tells the family that their word will be destroyed. She asks PG to finish her and she refers to him as the Nameless One. He tells her that his name is Psycho Goreman and he gives her the honorary death by eating her. The family gets out and soon they say goodbye to PG. PG announces that the Age of Chaos begins. Mimi blows him a kiss and he does the same for her before he opens a portal to some other place on Earth as he destroys everything in his sight. We can see a news report of PG destroying everything with his powers. Family is having dinner and Alistair joins the table. His parents act all normal like he isn't in his blob form. Poor Alistair gives his best to eat with his tentacles. The movie ends there. And there you have it, that was our video for today. And please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Also hit that like button if you enjoyed this video and that bell icon as well if you want to be notified if we have a new story for you. And after this video, don't forget to check out the video we've attached for you. See you next time.